Kiss, kiss, fall in love.
This episode, it's all about the feel-good, from some heartfelt classics to some brand new shows. So let's get stuck in.
Ava launch!
Tetsuo! Kaneda!
Onii-chan?
It's over 9,000! Nani?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Konnichiwa, you're tuned in to Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast where we look into the world of anime and manga. I'm Kyle, and joining me are my co-hosts, Loz, Kenny, and Aaron.
Oh, welcome.
Good to actually
finally have you here.
Yes, properly this time.
It's a bit of a different take from when we're normally sitting here going, we've got all these new people we've introduced, and we actually already have had you on a podcast, but haven't formally introduced you.
No, and it's a pleasure to meet you all.
Yeah.
Should I be wearing a suit for this if this is formal?
Oh, yeah, like, do you have your notes and all that?
Oh,
and, you know,
yeah.
like, you know.
Did we not say?
What are the typical interview
well,
questions?
dear.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Here.
Watching anime.
Here's
Watching
what's
anime.
Alive is preferable.
Yes, but Aaron is the last of the 3 new people who have joined the podcast in recent months, along with Loz, who is
Yo,
on
it's
most
me.
episodes now, which is great.
Oh, like, thank you for
but
having
Wait, so
me.
everyone else has been formally introduced?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Pretty much.
Oh, I feel horrible.
No, it's okay.
You know.
You see,
Yeah,
if I was an
now.
awful person, I'd be like,
Yeah,
But,
but I got that on my first one anyway.
yeah, you
so-
did. You're at the back. So, Aaron, introduce us to you. So, what was your first anime?
Oh, I think it was actually Sailor Moon. I remember watching it on Cheese TV when I was like
Cheese
5,
TV.
and it was over breakfast.
I get the distinct impression for people around our age group that's always going to be a kind of a common thing. That
Wait,
kind
you
of
were a
binds us.
90s kid. Did you watch cartoons before you went to school? Yes. Was it Sailor Moon? Was it Pokemon, Digimon, or Dragon Ball Z? Like,
Or
come
Card
on.
Captors?
Oh,
Yeah,
Card
no, I
Captors.
love all
Card
of
Captors.
them.
Mhm.
But I think like my first anime that wasn't like a Cheese TV anime
Yeah.
was Naruto.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Solid.
Yeah.
Going in hard there. That's, yeah.
It was specifically the Zabuza versus Kakashi fight.
Oh.
Just mint.
Yeah, that was
Chef's
like
kiss.
hype.
Yeah. Chef's kiss. Mwah.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You can kick me off the podcast now. It's fine.
But everyone's kind of got a bit of a background in a different area. And I think you've got we did mention a few podcasts back. You've got a background of some knowledge that we desperately need.
Yes, I have submersed myself in Fate.
Big F in the chat.
Yeah, the big F stands for Fate.
Big F for fake, yeah.
F8's done. I love Fate. I play Fate Go a lot. I've played Fate Extella. I've played a lot of the games. I've watched the animes. I've watched 2 of the recent movies to get ready for the 3rd one. Like, it's a lot to take in.
It sounds like so much effort.
It sounds like you're almost
Over
not
it.
happy.
Okay. Look, I love Fate, don't get me wrong, but the recent movies, just the way they've taken it.
Just
There's
a
a
little
lot.
uncomfortable, yeah.
There's a lot to
Yeah.
get through. It's like they give their fans so much, yet they take also so much.
Well, I mean, having a lot is good because quite often when you get into a series, you're like, oh, it's over. Whereas this one, like, if you just want a quick anime, you can watch one of the series, no problem, standalone. But if you want to go, hey, what if it went down a different route? Like, it's almost like a dating sim, but chaotic. Like, you can choose your route. You can be like, oh, I want to follow this route with this character or that route with that character.
So I guess it's kind of like I want to dip my toes in, have like a little like foot bath. And then it's like, if I want to do a deep dive, you can submerge yourself. There's a submarine here. It'll take you all the way down to the bottom of the lake.
So,
and there's so
Aaron,
much.
If I did want to get started with
no.
Fate, where would I?
Look, as controversial as this topic is, I honestly say start with Fate Zero.
Oh,
Yeah?
You heard
Yeah,
it here
hands
first,
down.
folks.
Yeah.
Because it's the prequel, so like people are like, oh, you have to watch Fate Stay Night first because that's the origin of the story, and like it spoils Fate Zero, and Fate Zero spoils Fate Stay Night, and it's like, look, honestly, just go. Well, like if you really, really want to start like properly, read the light novels. That's what everybody says. But I'm saying Fate Zero because like it doesn't properly introduce you to how the whole thing works, but it's the beginning of the story. You don't need to understand how it works at the very beginning. Not many stories tell you how it works
Yeah.
at the very
Got you.
beginning.
Okay, so starting at the
That's fair
beginning
enough.
of the story is a good plan. That
Well,
seems
in
like
this case,
logic.
it's starting at the chronological beginning.
Yes.
as opposed to
because,
the
the
release.
sequential
Yeah.
release beginning.
But that's if you want to do anime. Like, if you want to play the games, just go into the games. Like, it depends on what your preferred medium is, really.
Yeah, that's fair. And we did bring this up when we had you in for one of the extra episodes, but until recently, you hadn't watched much Ghibli.
No, I'd only seen little bits in passing, and I think I saw like Tales of Earthsea in cinema when I was like 17, 18, so like 12.
Not a good
But that's
representation.
changed
That has
a
changed.
lot since we last talked.
I'm very blessed to have a lot of time to watch movies and series and shows and the like. And so I have put myself through a very big chunk of Ghibli movies.
Intensive Ghibli.
Yeah, I
watching.
basically dived into it and I did not come back for air until I was done.
Did
got
you
in the
marathon the
submarine.
Ghibli collection?
No, I only marathoned what was on Netflix.
Oh.
So
Well,
like
that's still a...
That's most of
That's
it.
a
that
chunk.
is a fair chunk of it, and let me tell you, that was my brain still needs to recover from that.
Yeah,
I'm not like 100% yet.
Quick question. Apart from what was your favorite? Blah blah blah. What made you cry? Because I feel very intensely about a lot of Ghibli films. I've mentioned this before, but there are some moments that are just so heartfelt. Like, did you have any moments that you were like tear jerky?
Oh, actually, I think I remember a few moments where I was like, "Ooh, that's really sweet," but like me actually crying because like I'm emotionally shut off. Yay!
I mean, you do watch Fates, so yeah.
I have to do it to protect myself, really.
Yeah. At least you weren't just sitting there and everyone just goes, "Yo, I'm emotionally shut off."
Yeah, we definitely want this guy on. The robots are fun.
Look, robots matter. But what did you end up liking the most? Because I'm a like Spirited Away, Mononoke, Nausicaa person. They're my choices.
In my case, I'm a big fan of Totoro and Spirited Away.
Porco Rosso and House Moving Castle. Of
Yep,
course.
cool.
All very good movies. I enjoyed all of them, but my top four, like starting with number one, is Porco Rosso.
Good choice.
Ooh,
Good choice.
good choice.
Yes.
Because that was just an amazing movie.
It is.
Then there's Laputa and Nausicaa
Yay,
coming in for 2 and
Laputa.
3. And then Mononoke for 4.
Yep.
Mononoke is
awesome.
amazing.
So you can tell very much what my style is. I like a lot of action.
Yeah,
and, like,
absolutely.
a decent pace to the movie.
That's a good collection.
Yeah.
It is definitely a good collection. Now, we do need to talk about something that has been airing recently. As I awfully said to Farah when we were done, enough about you.
Sorry to keep rambling.
Whoa.
Let's talk about something that's been airing at the moment called Rent a Girlfriend.
Ugh.
Now,
I've been hearing things.
I haven't actually touched it. I looked at it and I'm
Oh.
like, I know a few people who work in a similar industry to this.
oh,
And yeah, I think you know the same people.
Yeah.
I know a couple of others because I did a training course with them.
Yeah.
But like, it's
Escort industry, hard.
Yeah.
Hard work.
and I don't think like I could watch that with my friends and like some of the stories they've told me.
Yeah, that's fair. So Rent a Girlfriend, for those who aren't aware of it, is a story set where there is a young gentleman who loses his girlfriend and to make himself feel better, rents a girlfriend to go out on a date. And one thing leads to another, and it results in them getting in an awkward situation where the grandmother is like, "Oh, I never thought you'd get a lovely girlfriend. I'm so happy for you. This is so great," and falls in love with the rental girlfriend. And
How traditional of grandma.
yeah, I know. This is... Look, I think we can all agree I'm bad when it comes to dumpster diving.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched a lot of Trash Fire. Domestic Girlfriend, definitely right up there.
What is it with the girlfriend shows?
I know. It's these, like
judge
Nisekoi.
I'll
There's a
judge
hole
him
in his
as
heart
much
that he
as
needs
I
to
want.
fill.
Yeah, and at the moment I'm stuffing Doritos in it. So.
Oh, that's a move.
That's me.
But this is a show which fits squarely in that category where it's going to be, suggested to be a harem. There's a situation, and then obviously the main girl will be the final winner at the end. The problem is I've been having a bit of a look online at the manga. I've been having a look at people talking in the forums about this. It turns out they're into about chapter 200 in the manga.
Oh, wow.
Nothing has happened.
Oh, my
What?
classic.
No
Yeah.
character
Okay.
development.
So it's like Nisekoi, where it's like
Yeah.
the two families really like the main girl and guy together, but then they're like not really together and they're
Yep.
pretending because like
Yep.
in Rent a Girlfriend it's like the two grandmas are friends
Yep.
and so their grandma's like, cool, awesome, our kids will get married, it's perfect. So it's kind of like that.
Yep.
And then nothing happens for
200.
3,000 chapters.
Yeah. And
no spoilers. I'm still so bothered about the end of that.
yeah,
Of Nisekoi.
Yeah, of Nisekoi.
Yeah, it's fair.
yeah, and I was as well with similar situation.
Yeah.
I read Nisekoi, I followed it all the way to the end.
It's so good.
And it was so good, and then it's
just want
like,
closure.
and then you get to the end, and you're like, you're choosing to go with the. I mean, I should have seen it coming, but this was my first sort of outing with these romance style mangas, and I was like, you're choosing the girl who's verbally and psychologically abusive as the best partner. That doesn't send a good message for young readers.
No.
It's just,
So
I think it might be a trope in the
It is.
romance genre that they just can't stick the landing.
well, it's essentially a case where they choose at the outset that X character and Y character are going to end up together, and whatever happens in between is inconsequential. It's how long can we milk it?
Yeah, it's like Bunny Girl Senpai. Like
Yeah.
it's the same kind of character. Like the boy and the girl have very similar personalities. She's the more domineering kind of like, I don't know, hashtag step on me kind of like bullies him a little bit kind of thing.
You've just
Look.
broken Aaron.
Well, like, okay, look, we can all agree we would all want that, but like that kind of trope in terms of like she's like kind of mean to
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
and he's kind of a
mean,
nobody standard
It's the
guy.
Kenny's looking at us going, why would you want them to be mean to you? And it's like it goes back to that high school thing, like you know
Yeah.
if a guy likes a girl, he's mean to her. He's not.
Pulls her pigtails, it means I'm saying I love you. And it's like, I guess it's like the tsundere as well, like I'm baka, and like hits you in the face. And you're
doesn't
like,
mean
oh,
I
she
love you,
loves
senpai.
me. It's like,
Exactly, yeah.
Well, it's like a playful mean. It's not a.
Yes, no, it
I
is
will
playful.
actually stab you when you turn around. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
like
a
no,
different
it's not
genre.
Mirai Nikki. It's
I was going to say it's not
different,
Yandere.
yeah.
Like, I mean, for me, like one of my favorite little romance series that I've seen in recent years was Teasing Master Takagi because of
Yeah.
how pure and lovely
was
it is.
so
Yeah, and like
Sweet.
Yeah.
the sweet teasing is sweet.
Is sweet.
It's nice,
but I think the issue is that a lot of people don't know how to settle in that middle without because you know we're adults. We don't think like children anymore. We think completely
Unless.
different. Unless but
Well, it's not like games where you've got like the three options where it's like, oh yeah, this is the good one, this is
Yeah,
the
like a
neutral one,
visual
this is
novel
the
where you
bad
can
one.
choose.
and you're just sitting there
Paragon
going,
and Renegade.
I was going to say Renegade for life.
Yeah.
Like,
Look, we're
yeah.
all Mass Effect
God.
nerds. Let's be real.
All right, so look, Rent a Girlfriend, look, check it out if you do want to. But after last week's in-depth look into how war has shaped the world of animation, we thought this episode needed to be something a bit warm and fun to balance it out. So just like a comfy hoodie or a nice hot cup of tea or coffee or a steaming hot shower, this episode, each of us has brought a favourite to the table to talk about for our first ever Anime Hotpot episode.
I brought my shower. Did you guys bring your shower?
No, I've got my blankie. No.
I brought my teddy. I love him.
I have my soft bunny.
We have 3 wonderful and fun shows to share with you this episode, but you might be asking, why only 3 when there's 4 of us? All will be revealed in due time. And hey, if you have got this far and you're enjoying what you're hearing, consider hitting that subscribe button and joining us for future episodes. If you're one of our listeners on YouTube, don't forget, you can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast too now. So we'd love to keep you company on your next day off or on your trip away. It'd be lovely to have us in your ear and telling you, you know, the dulcet tones.
Push the like button.
No,
Push it.
please.
We're
no.
going to tell you what to watch.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
But before we get into this episode's main topics, it's time for the anime news, and my lord, there's a lot.
Sorry.
Making headlines.
Really?
Sort of.
Anime news.
Well, it's time to look at what's been going in the world of anime and manga the past fortnight, and let's talk about something a bit controversial, Act Age. Now, if you haven't caught the latest dramas on this, Act Age is a manga which has been indefinitely suspended, cancelled, removed from print, removed from online viewing, after the writer Matsuki Tatsuya was arrested for allegedly touching several middle school girls.
Okay.
Yep. Now,
I'm happy to talk about this as least as possible.
the issue here is Matsuki reportedly told police there's generally nothing incorrect with their accusations.
Oh.
Oh my.
Yeah. Now, just to clarify, this was on the streets. He apparently rode past people and touched them. So we're
Doesn't
not.
matter.
It's still bad,
Yeah.
but it's it. From some of the stuff we've heard recently, it could be a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot more confronting.
It's more the whole thing of like a manga just being erased like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. So he's not the only writer. This is a 2-person team working on this manga, and the manga itself is actually quite nice. it's about a girl who's an actress in high school who makes her big break, but her method acting is becoming a danger to herself, and it's about how the family and friends around them her support her. It's how she learns to deal with her own, mental conditions as well, like her looking after her mental health.
Oh wow,
So, that actually sounds really heavy.
sounds really
really good. Yeah,
It sounds like something that a lot of people could relate to and might need that assistance in coping with
talking
what
about
they're
mental
going
health
through.
is something you don't see a lot in manga.
It
Absolutely.
isn't. And it was nominated for Kodansha's 43rd annual manga awards last year.
So it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's not just something throwaway. And it's only been running for 2 years. But all existing volumes of the manga have been pulled from print in Japan and around the world. Any planned future volumes, tie-in stories, goods-related series, all cancelled.
Crikey.
So it's been a full cancellation. And don't get me wrong, the way this has been reported, it feels like this behaviour, as far as the publishers goes, is warranted. But it is also a shame that it means for the other writer who's done nothing wrong to our knowledge, a project that he's passionate about is, essentially blacklisted around the world
this
now.
sounded like a big deal thing. It's just, I wonder where that guy's going to go from here.
I feel bad for the other parts of the company.
Let's, I want to look up his name and find out what else he's done soon.
Absolutely. But onto something a bit more positive and something that is going to make
So
Loz
positive.
squee. There is a upcoming gymnastics anime by Studio Mappa. And
I screamed so
This
loud
one's
when I
excited.
saw this. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I'm taking over this segment.
Please.
Hello.
Take it. Yours.
Did someone say Studio Mappa? I'm here. So I love almost everything that Mappa's ever done. Yuri on Ice being the big one that this would be similar to in the fact that it is a emotional story. It looks like it's quite a drama that has a sports focus as the base to springboard the story off, focusing on male sports again, like the male ice skating that was Yuri on Ice. We're looking at gymnastics now. It's got some people from Dotoro and also some people who worked on Zombieland Saga. So
pretty much the whole
Mappa
head
people.
honcho team from Zombieland.
Yeah.
Saga
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
like, this is a pretty
High
big
quality
name list. And
list.
the trailer is just,
Oh, it's beautiful.
wow.
The lighting, the movement.
The lighting
It's
is
nuts.
so pure looking. The movement is so smooth.
It is.
You can tell they've done their research for this like they did with Yuri on Ice.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it looks really beautiful.
I wouldn't even call this research. I'd call this practically obsessive. The way that it just captures just the fluid motion of a dismount from the... I don't even really know much about gymnastics, but this looks so
But
amazing.
It just looks gorgeous. And I think maybe even just from, 2016 to now, that time to work and polish on the animation from Yuri on Ice, which already looked really good, to this is just nuts. So, the gymnastics anime, I'm so excited.
So
tell us more,
It's
please.
called Gymnastics Samurai. It's a completely original story, so similar to Yuri on Ice when it doesn't actually have that focus on source material to go from. Airs on October 10 in the upcoming anime season, and it reunites the Zombieland Saga team, director Shimizu Hisatoshi, script supervisor Murakoshi Shigeru, and character designer Fukugawa Kasumi. The original story is being penned by someone called Snack Mary. I've done a fair bit of Googling. I have no idea who this person is or
Maybe
if
it's
it's
a
a
pen name?
group.
Could be a completely new pen name. We've come across people like this, like Monkey Punch, people who just have these strange names.
I love how, Yaron, you're just like, yes, Monkey Punch.
Oh, reminds me of the good old days in high school.
But look, this looks amazing. The story is set back in 2002. This was back when Japan's men's gymnastics team was actually doing really well on the international stage, and it focuses on Shotaro Arakagi, and he's the former Japanese team member who's devoted his entire life to gymnastics, and he's no longer able to compete to his level of expectations.
Well, that actually raises a question. So this is set back in time and during a sort of period where this was all up front on the world stage. So will the characters be based on actual individuals?
We don't know yet, and that's kind of the thing. Like,
Intriguing.
Obviously, when you are doing something which is using real people's name, you've got to be very careful.
Of course, yeah.
With if it goes down like the storyline from Yuri on Ice or anything similar, you've got to be very careful how you represent those people. So
it could be
we'll see.
inspired by the
Exactly.
members, for example.
Yeah. But essentially, despite his strenuous daily training, day after day, he's advised to retire by his coach, and he's then has a certain encounter which alters his fate.
And guys, just like Yuri on Ice, it feels feels real gay. There's this male rival. Oh man.
You're looking forward to this, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I actually
You've got the Yowie goggles on already.
goggles also, but like,
Have you ever taken those off?
no.
The goggles, they do nothing.
Look, I wear glasses daily. But even as like a complete sidebar from the fact that I love sports anime generally, like I love Haikyuu, Ace of Diamond, all that jazz. I love male-centric boys' love stories that are actually wholesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who would have thought?
Studio Mappa, love that, and I'm an ex-gymnast, so
Oh.
yeah.
See,
Rhythmic gymnastics, not artistic, but similar enough.
So I did gymnastics in like year 1 or 2, I think, and I was terrible. I broke my nose.
I think I did gymnastics once.
I literally fell on my face.
Oh, bless.
And then I broke my nose several other times in life, so I think it's gone back to where it's meant to be now.
I was going to say, it looks
looks
straight
fine.
from here. But, yeah,
Unlike
so-
this show.
Exactly. And
I'm
like this
so
show,
keen.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be good. All right. Well, on to our third topic of discussion. That's Deca-Dence again. We are talking about this almost every episode, and I do apologize for anyone who's sick of us talking about Deca-Dence.
It's pretty standout
It's
for this
just so
season, honestly.
different.
It really is. But here's the thing. Director Tachikawa Yuzuru did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit this week. It was set up by Funimation. There's some really interesting takeaways from it. So firstly, he was actually worried about how that episode 2 would be received, considering the art style completely shifts.
I mean, fair.
And considering the story
It does a
completely shifts.
U-turn, like, wildly.
So he said the design of the cyborgs are extremely cute, and for audiences used to seeing traditional anime expressions, I was concerned they may not accept the designs. And as far as the plot goes, I knew we had to reveal it at episode 2, so I was confident. But it was, that concern around, obviously, that very big paradigm shift from the style of what you're watching. You go from, Wit Studio, Mappa style, like big action, shonen style.
It feels like
Attack
you
on
know
Titan
exactly
kind of
what
vibe.
you're going to get with
Yeah.
it. It's just going to follow very
Well,
similar
I'm
story
avoiding
beats.
saying Attack on Titan because the amount of people who are voting at 1 star on my anime list after
really?
watching only episode 1
That's
and going,
so
it's an Attack on Titan
disappointing.
clone.
Don't, guys.
That's
It's
Watch
so
4
disappointing.
episodes. That will give you everything you need to know.
3-episode treatment. We covered this rule.
Yeah, we did.
But also, like, if you don't like something, you can just walk away.
Yeah.
Wild concept.
I know.
You don't have to, like, ruin it for other people. Ugh, whatever.
But for those who aren't aware, Tachikawa Yuzuru is the mind behind Mob Psycho 100. So he's got a pretty good back catalog of experience and stuff. But there was also something that really caught my eye from this. Wreck-It Ralph.
What?
Yeah. Okay. Regarding the origin, a lot of our meetings kept mentioning the movie Wreck-It Ralph. We loved the visuals of many characters coming together from different IPs to fight against something greater. You could call that the origin or basis of inspiration for this project.
Excuse you and your entire genre.
Okay.
No, it makes sense because,
Yeah.
remember how they had that whole meeting ground in the middle of Wreck-It Ralph, like the power board.
Yeah.
That was
And,
cute.
I guess.
Yeah.
But
And
They're all coming from the different games.
yeah, and a lot of the characters in those games were cute little Q-Bert and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's quite similar to the cyborg designs.
And I guess, like, Vanellope had that thing where she was kind of like a glitch in the game.
she's a and the
A
main
bug.
character is
Yep.
a glitch.
Yeah.
Now we were discussing this a bit earlier, you
my
and I,
God.
Loz, and I was like, I want you to guess what he took from Wreck-It Ralph, and you were immediately like, oh, it's got to be the bug, it's got to be the glitch idea.
Yeah.
They're a glitch in the system. No, he never mentions it, not once. I know. Right.
The funny thing is, when you mentioned the bugs, my brain didn't think of the glitch bugs. It thought of the bugs from the space
shooter game?
game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, like how the bugs adapt when they get into the candy game, and oh yeah, they kind of have that buggish vibe to the monsters. Like I can kind of see that.
I
so
am a little bit mind blown.
I'm not surprised, Kenny.
I'm taking a break.
All right. So look, a couple of other interesting things. The cyborg world was designed with a Western aesthetic in mind, which is why it has
very
that
much
very
feel
different
that,
look.
yeah.
The power board, really.
Yeah. Kaburagi's early design looks like Doc from Back to the Future.
Great Scott.
They then actually decided to completely change his design language to make him a handsome man.
No, I'm sad. I kind of wish he looked
I
like
know,
Doc.
it would have been great. And the
Marty,
pet,
we have to fight these monsters, Marty. I would watch the hell out of that.
Kaburagi's pet Pipe is actually based
Pipe.
on a whale.
Yeah, I can see that. The
Yeah.
moment I saw this, based on a beluga whale, you're like, oh, it's exactly what it looks like. It's because
Yeah.
it's got the big forehead.
Yeah.
Except that it's, a bit more like Torkoal, the Pokemon, where it's got instead of,
Yeah.
popping water out of its spout, it seems to be steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I know that's a very niche reference, but most Pokemon players will get it, so whatever.
as a pro Pokemon player, just putting down my little notch here, Torkoal shoots smoke out of its back.
Cool. Nailed it.
Oh,
At least
jeez.
I'm not alone. Right, so it's of course time to talk about the latest Rona news, and to start off with, there's been a couple of odd infections in Japan. The guitarist of J-rock band Flow has tested positive for COVID-19. This is following a streamed live concert on August 17th where there was no audience. They went to the venue, they had the roadies and the venue staff there help them set up and do the live show and stream it out to their audience. There was no one really that he should have come in contact
Maybe he's
with.
not properly cleaning something.
The rest of the band have all
disinfected.
tested negative.
Oh,
So
dear.
no one knows where it's come
So
from.
it's
It travels
from
through the
something
internet now?
No. So you might know the band. They're quite well known in Japan, and they've also performed many anime OPs, including for Naruto, Code Geass, and Seven Deadly Sins as well. So
That's nuts.
everything that we've heard from them is that he's in good condition and he's in self-isolation at home. He's not at a health risk, so that's the good news.
That's
That's
good.
good.
So
Get
he's going with
well
the
soon.
flow?
Yeah, he's going with the flow.
My
I told you Aaron would be proud of the dad jokes I was making. There's also been a small COVID outbreak discovered at the official Pokemon Center in Hiroshima, the Pokemon store there. The store has been temporarily closed after some staff tested positive last week.
Get repels going. Get rid of that
need a lot of repel.
Antidotes.
Yeah. Now, there's also been another anime delayed due to the upcoming... due to the virus, and this is with the upcoming fantasy series, and I mentioned this, it's a long name.
Take a deep breath before you say it.
Suppose a kid from the last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. So that's now releasing in January instead of October. I don't know if it's an isekai or if it's just
It's an
a
isekai,
fantasy
of
one.
course it is.
Well, I
Yeah.
expect if he did, he'd be sort of semi-overpowered and exist as sort of like a fish out of water story.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Can someone? Can I just like get Japan on the phone and be like, "Hello, Mr. Anime. This is me, Loz. I just like you to let you know you can have shorter titles for you, and you can actually just call them like maybe one or two words." Something kind of punchy. Naruto works. Everyone knows how to say it. Dragon Ball Z, Code Geass. You don't need to say the entire thing in the title.
And then they would respond, I don't understand your question. Can you phrase it in the form of a long anime title?
Laura doesn't think that you should put your anime title in all one word and in caps.
I don't
the
understand.
Isekai story.
I don't understand the dialect.
Now, so we've got some bad news if you live in New York. Both New York Comic Con and
Yeah.
Anime NYC 2020 are cancelled.
Aye.
Both events are planned to hold some form of digital event in
That's
the coming
good.
months, but it's not all bad. We do have some good updates. There have been a flood this fortnight, actually. So delayed.
Good
There's a flood too.
Yeah, no, delayed
Who's got
Anime
that on
Idol.
2020 bingo.
I still have Zombie Apocalypse coming for end of the year. Like,
Alien
Godzilla.
Invasion.
oh, Godzilla would be good.
Godzilla, yeah.
Godzilla.
Now, delayed Idol anime Dropout Idol Fruit Tart will be heading to screens on October 12th after being pushed back from this season. Similarly, the new Higurashi series will debut on October 1st, and its 14th episode will screen in January. So it looks like it might actually be a two-core production.
I hope so. Let's hope it covers the whole story, everyone.
Now, in the cinemas, Studio Bones' upcoming heartfelt anime film Josie, the Tiger and the Fish, that's going to be heading to the big screens on Christmas, December 25 in Japan, after missing its summer release. And compilation film Happy Go Lucky Days has announced a new release date of October 23rd after its initial release on May 8 was cancelled.
What is it a compilation of?
It's a compilation of stories exploring love in Japan.
Aww.
That sounds
Yeah.
lovely.
But I believe it might be a little bit raunchy. So,
That sounds like
Hey.
lovely.
and some great news if somehow any of us end up in Japan this year.
No.
If you are traveling, let us know in the comments. We'd love to know how you managed to get a part.
Are you swimming across the
Have you got a boat? Can we buy a seat? Like,
Purely for statistical reasons, we're not trying to copy you.
no, definitely not.
Wink.
The Ghibli Museum plans to reopen its doors to the public again in September.
That'll be
Haven't
nice.
been closed since February. So that's
fantastic
quite a big
news.
one.
Oh, so I should go there now that I understand everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Cool.
yes,
You're
yes.
good. You're good. You're good.
You're actually you can show. Actually, I've got my stamp card. I've seen these movies. I'm actually allowed in now.
I would so love if they would do that.
Excuse me. I can see here that you have not seen Grave of the Fireflies. If you could come back.
This
that was
section
after.
is
Thank
no,
you.
this section is off limits to you. You haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies.
You're done. No more.
I mean, that's not a bad idea, but also gatekeeping's bad.
Gatekeeping's
Yeah.
I
bad,
don't know. It kind of inspires.
but the
I
jokes,
don't know.
guys.
the joke.
Anyway,
Look, we need to talk about.
happy things.
Well, are you ready? Because it's been a big fortnight of news, and I'm probably going to run out of breath doing this. Here's what's been making headlines the past 2 weeks. Well, well-known anime and manga piracy sites Kiss Anime and Kiss Manga have been shut down this week, with both sites now only showing a message stating all files were taken down by copyright owners and that the site will be closed forever. It's the latest anime piracy site to be forcibly shut down, with some community staff members stating the site is gone for good. What's been dubbed the Australian manga saga has continued, with Australia's Classifications Board banning the sale and import of the first, second and 9th volumes of the No Game No Life light novel series due to being refused classification. The novel series were submitted to the Classifications Board for assessment along with a number of manga franchises after a politician raised concerns some series were depicting child exploitation and concerning themes. Onto the small screen, and announcements and release dates for several new seasons have been made this past fortnight. Boys volleyball anime Haikyuu will see its 4th season return on October 2nd, with episodes 14 to 25 having been delayed since July. Slice of Life series Is the Order a Rabbit is receiving a 3rd season come October, with most of the production staff returning for the project. Last season's mobile game come anime, Princess Connect Redive, has also announced a 2nd season is in the works over at CY Games Pictures, but there's no release date announced as of yet. And good news for fans of Kyoto Animation and Dragon Maids, a 2nd season of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is in the works at KyoAni, the 2021 release on the cards at this stage. Onto the silver screen, and there's more good news. Gintama's upcoming anime film, The Final, has been given a January 8 premiere date, with the film's tagline promising that this film is the finale for real this time. The manga has inspired several anime series over the years, with over 360 total episodes released so far. Fans of swimming anime Free will see its latest film hit cinemas sometime in 2021. The film was delayed in November 2019 following a fire at the Kyoto Animation Studios, with the film's staff assuring fans they're making a film that will meet their expectations. And an independent anime film is heading to cinemas on September 25th, and it's been created completely remotely during the pandemic. Mouse Man will focus on the story of a mouse cyborg hero, created by director Ito Pierre, with a runtime of 52 minutes. Checking in on the streaming services, and High Dive has added retro classics Demon City Shinjuku and Wicked City to its catalogue, with both dubs and subs available. The dub of Demon Girl Next Door will also land on the service on August 27th. Over on Netflix, The Promised Neverland is being added to the catalogue in the US, Canada and Latin America on September 1st, and the new Pokemon Journey series will join it 10 days later. Still with Netflix, the first 14 episodes of Wit Studios' new original anime, The Great Pretender, are now available to stream internationally on the service, with the series also receiving an English dub, which is in the works. The series will also see its 4th case land on the streaming giant on September 12th in Japan, and features episodes 15 to 23 of the new original crime series. Over on the bookshelves, and The Promised Neverland is getting a new chapter as part of an exhibit in Tokyo this year. The Promised Neverland special exhibition event will run from December 11 through to January 11 in Tokyo, and will have a 19-page chapter published at the event. New supernatural manga Undead Unluck has taken out the top prize at the 2020 Tsugini Kuru Manga Taisho Up and Coming Manga Awards. The series follows a woman cursed with unluck who brings misfortune to all who touch her, and a man who cannot die. Together, they fight crime. And baseball manga Mix will return in November after going on hiatus in May due to the coronavirus preventing its team from working together. In dub news, English dubs are on the way at Crunchyroll for God of Highschool, the 2nd season of ReZero, Rent a Girlfriend and Monster Girl Next Door, with them all landing on the service in the following month. At Funimation, Kakushi Goto's dub will start airing this week, as will their dub of the Persona 5 anime, with the game's cast reprising their roles. Sentai Filmworks have announced an English dub for quick-witted comedy series Wasteful Days of High School Girls is also in production. And that's your anime news for the week ending August 23rd, 2020.
Kawaii-Fi Radio. I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Back Catalogue.
Getting that funky groove on. It's time to go into the back catalogue, and we're talking about Natsume's Book of Friends.
Yay!
Which, Laws, this was your big favourite suggestion for the hot pot this week.
Yes, this is where I bring everyone a big, warm cup of like nice green tea. Here you go, Aaron. There you go. You hold this one, and then one for Kenny and for Kyle. And then this is my happy feel time good show. And it's just,
isn't it quite like, from everything I saw, it's a little bit emotional.
It is. And I have some things that I watch when I want to be like kind of overly happy, and then that's what we're talking about later with Kenny's pick. But this is the kind of show that just makes me feel calm and just brings me that kind of like mental happiness and like peace and stuff like that as well. So like I watch this when I want to feel like a chill vibe.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I've been needing a chill vibe. It's been a year. Yeah.
Fantastic contribution. I hadn't even seen this one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It was one that we missed. But I mean, let's be honest. This came out in
2008.
2008, and back then, like, whoa,
There's a lot going on.
there was a lot going on.
I reckon so, yeah.
That being said, like I took the opportunity to like spread my Natsume agenda whenever I can and be like, ooh, I have a chance to talk about something. Let's talk about this.
No, but I mean, that's kind of like the big appeal
Yeah.
of doing a show like this is to actually introduce
Have something
something
new.
new.
It's actually really funny that you mentioned spreading it, because I was on my anime list and they were talking about what was your, this was on their Facebook page, what is your favorite hidden classic?
Yes,
And the
this is
amount of people mentioning Natsume's Book of Friends, I was so
Yay.
surprised.
It's like there's a secret club.
There is a club. You guys are now part of it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Your jackets are on the way. Another thing with this as well, like I think maybe it just didn't come to maybe Australian anime fans that much because it didn't get a release here, whereas it did get the release in America. But I always find it quite surprising people didn't know about this show because it won like a lot of awards, like a lot of fan awards as well. Like it consistently got like 8s and 9s, 10 kind of ratings on Mal.
And it really shows,
And
by the way.
it is,
Oh, yeah.
and it's got like really high quality voice actors, and yeah, so it's kind of surprising that people haven't heard of it. But whatever, you've heard of it now.
You've now heard of it.
Would you go ahead and tell us a story?
Okay, if you insist. Now I've written kind of a big synopsis because I feel like you do need to understand a bit of the background of the character, so bear with me. So the series is about Natsume, who is an orphan teenage boy who can see spirits or yokais or demons or whatever you want to call them, but I'll refer to them as spirits for now. Think about kind of like Spirited Away kind of demons, yokai. And he inherits from his grandmother, his late grandmother who has passed away, this notebook called the Book of Friends. She's used it to bind all these spirits basically to the notebook, and she kind of controls them in not like a malicious way. If anything, when you see flashbacks of the grandmother, it's like she's kind of making friends with these spirits by kind of binding them to this book. And when he gets this book and he finds it and he sees it and he's like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, what do I do with this? Natsume's always been able to see spirits from a very young age, but of course no one else can. And it's really alienated him as a person. And as someone who lost his parents at a really young age, he moves around all these foster families. He's never really had that connection to humans or yokai. And then through this Book of Friends, starts meeting all of the spirits in his new hometown that he's in, and starts to find this kind of found family and meets all these new people, has these new experiences. And it's about him kind of learning to love life a lot more. And that's why I just think this is such a beautiful show.
It definitely is. Now, one of the things that I love about this is the cat spirit.
Yay!
Madara, who's also known as Nyanko Sensei, but I discovered something. I discovered a couple of things. So everyone understands. No, this is funny. Madara was sealed in a shrine until he was accidentally released by Natsume, and that happens in the first episode in literally the first 10 minutes.
He's a big wolf demon.
Yeah. Because Madara was trapped in a material for so long, he ordinarily takes on the shape of a lucky cat. People can see him in his cat form, but not his Inugami spirit form. Inugami is a dog god. A dog god turns into the lucky cat.
Yep.
And he's like this big fat cat.
Yeah.
And he's got such a dorky face with such a manly voice.
I know, it's so good.
He's so cute.
And despite, always saying, oh, I'm not a cat, he loves playing with cat toys, so go figure.
Yeah.
Fun fact, though, Nyanko's design is based on a lucky cat statue the author, Midorokawa, was given as a child, and she used that as the inspiration for the colouring and for how he would look.
That's so
lovely.
sweet.
Which is
And
really good.
Nyanko Sensei hangs around Natsume as like his bodyguard. He's like, I want the Book of Friends because I want to be able to control these spirits. And Natsume's like, nah, I'd actually like to start releasing the spirits.
They
and
seem
make
to have
friends
this.
with them.
They seem to have this argument of like which one of them is like the one in command and which one's the pet. I love that so much.
Then you just get a little piece of catnip and throw it to Nyanko Sensei, and he's like, oh, okay. But yeah, so he starts hanging around Natsume, and they really form this quite a loving bond. It's really very sweet, and it's just a very soft, sometimes slow pace, sometimes quite quite action-focused show that just really goes quite a lot of places.
Yeah, the tone seems to shift on that because the yokai themselves, they are a very kind of a fascinating kind of culture and breed. They are very detached from humans and don't really understand them. And occasionally they are very, very courteous, very, very pleasant. But other times they are downright homicidal and actually dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, when you're coming to another episode, you don't know, is this going to be something nice where they're just sort of like, funny and quirky? Or is this going to be something that's going to try to tear out Natsume's soul? It's just like, what the heck is going to happen next?
You never know.
You never know. And I think like one of the other reasons why I really like this show is when it came out and when I started watching it, it was, I was having a hard time with my mental health and really seeing Natsume come into himself and learn more about himself and kind of grow into his personality and meeting new people and, coming to terms with his new foster parents, which is really beautiful, and how he accepts all the other yokai is really just lovely.
I was going to say, Aaron, I think you ended up watching
You smashed
lot
it.
of
You
this.
loved it.
Yeah.
That made me so happy.
I watched a whole 3 seasons of it, and honestly, when I started, I was like, "Oh, this looks like it's a Pokemon thing. Like, oh, he's gonna go around and like,
Collect
oh, I
them.
release you Kappa, I release you."
Kind of a monster of the
Umbrella
week
Spirit.
thing, yeah?
Yeah. But it turned into something completely different, and it was, okay. I said earlier, I'm very emotionally shut off. There were a few episodes like. Loz was like, oh yeah, just watch like 5 episodes, you'll be fine. The 6th episode ruined me. I was emotionally distraught and I was like, oh, I need a break, but I need to watch this so that I'm ready.
Yeah.
And honestly, get ready for episode 6 of it if you're going to watch it.
Yeah. Now, this anime has 6 seasons, 12 episodes.
Hashtag 6 seasons of a movie.
Yep, and a movie, and 6 OVAs, which takes it to a grand total of 80 episodes and a film.
Woo.
And that's run from 2008 to 2018. Fun fact, though, the manga started in 2005. It's still going.
25 volumes.
Whoa.
Seriously?
Yep. And that's the manga created by Minorukawa Yuki. When I started watching this, I was really quite surprised because, I mean, admittedly it is an older series, especially that first season. But the art style was so beautiful.
It still manages to hold up. Like, I remember when I was rewatching recently, obviously, for the show, and the opening kind of, you can tell it's a bit old. It kind of looks a little janky. But in the actual series itself, the backgrounds are so beautifully detailed, and just the way that they do, even just like wind and just like the most simple kind of just little things around in the animation, it hasn't changed. It's timeless. Yeah.
And the watercolored backgrounds
yeah,
are just,
it's just stunning.
It's fantastic.
it's everything about it seems to have this sort of like old kind of handcrafted feel to it.
Very
Yeah.
traditional.
And I feel like you get that with the yokai as well, with that kind of traditional feeling, and the fact that it's set in the countryside, the Japanese countryside. You get that kind of homey kind of feeling, I guess. Yeah.
Like homies or...
Homey.
No, this isn't gang warfare.
Oh,
Yo,
yokai
what's up,
gang
my
warfare.
Oni homie?
Dear.
That was terrible. Hit me later.
Yep, Kenny's now launching a J-Rap career. We'll see how that goes in the next episode. You can catch almost all of this on Crunchyroll now.
First 4 seasons.
First 4 seasons, but depending on region, different regions have them listed under different names. But in Crunchyroll in
Thank
the
you,
States,
VPN.
season 1, 2, and 3 are considered a season 1. And then they go straight to season 4 as a separate one, season 5 is a separate one, season 6 is a separate one. No explanation why.
That's a bit
Whatever
odd.
works, I guess.
Yep. And for some reason in Australia, 5
Oh.
and 6 are not on the list.
Actually, you want to know why?
Why?
Because the studio changed. So season 1 to 4 is Brain Space, and then 5 and 6 and the movie are Studio Shuka, which I have never heard of. But that's probably why. So it's different licensing. Yeah.
That'd be about right. But if you're in pretty much any English-speaking territory, Crunchyroll you go to, I believe it's Crunchyroll as well for most of Europe. But have a look online. You definitely find it out in your local ones.
Yeah, please give it a try.
It's definitely worth a good look. It's going to leave you feeling.
It's
You're
lovely.
going to be feeling.
It's very nice.
But the
Especially
payoff's
episode
so
6.
good. Oh,
I'm not going to drop it because, my heart.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. Like some things, like the next 2 series we're going to talk about, are just so poppy and happy. But this is the payoff of this. The bittersweet payoff is just worth it.
Well, we'll be right back after this, but we're going to dip into the future.
Oh my God.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
And now for our feature presentation.
Now featuring.
We haven't used that sting in so long, I completely forgot what it was. I was like, where is this going? Oh, that's right. We're talking Digimon Adventure.
Digimon, digital monsters,
She's going to Digi-Rap, damn it.
Okay, so this is my contribution.
And actually, it's also mine, which is why we only have 3.
Oh.
Yes, teamwork.
Are we Digi-destined?
Prodigious.
So, in case you weren't aware, Digimon has relaunched. It's a complete reboot of the original series set in a modern setting. Started this year. Got 10 episodes out at the moment.
11.
11, sorry. 11th just landed. And it's great.
It's so good.
I was really surprised because if anyone watched the original Digimon series or any of the ones that followed on from it.
I watched the original and I saw bits of the other ones.
You remember
after this.
it was quite childish. It was very kid orientated.
Yeah.
This it's no MA, but this one definitely is a more mature approach.
It has greater stakes by the feel of it.
The difference is they're actually fleshing out the characters this time. Last time
huge.
it was like, you've got 6 Digidestined, go! They're just gonna fight stuff, and that's episode to episode. Whereas this, they're like, each of the kids has their own personality, their own traits, and so do the Digimon.
I guess that's what we expect as viewers of any anime or animation, Western animation as well, is we expect good characters. Like Avatar The Last Airbender really set the bar for you can't just have week-to-week fighting anymore. People don't care, kids don't care. You need characters that people can relate to.
Well, I mean, that was actually one of the things which caused the downfall of the first season of Ranma Half. Ranma was cancelled.
What, really?
This
I love Ranma.
This is not a well-known fact. Ranma was
No.
cancelled after the first season and relaunched because they got sick of different martial art every week for that first season.
Yeah, it was going with the whole Monster of the Week format that was like so famous by Sailor Moon and stuff like that.
Yeah, so after that, the author Ryuko was like, "No, we're doing this again," and took it to a different studio.
Oh, wild.
And then they continued it from taking off from there. So there's the first episode of season 2 has that flashback. This is a similar principle where they've went, we need to have that strong character development. And if you saw any of the later Digimon series, I think it was the 3rd season, had a kid who had obsessive compulsive disorder.
Takuta?
Yeah.
With
And they
Gilmon?
did. They explored little bits and pieces of it, but never to the full extent. It was a single episode confined one. With the current Digimon, those character traits are throughout the whole
they're like
everything
actual
we've
people.
seen. They're actual people, yeah.
Yeah, well, what they've done is, like, they did a lot of character development in Digimon Try, which honestly is a lot more like Digimon Cry with how they flesh the characters out. Like, oh, man.
You're just going to cry for all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Or if you watch it as a series, all of it.
Yeah, no, Digimon Try is an emotional wow. Whereas this Digimon Adventure 2020... they've gone, okay, we acknowledge these character traits, but they're still younger, so it's still like an early version of them.
Yeah.
Like in Try, Joe is obsessed with getting into university. Like he drops being a Digidestined altogether. Everyone's like, oh, the world's ending, we need to save it. And he's like, no, I've got to go to university.
Entrance exams.
Entrance exams.
Yes.
Which is more important, the survival of the world or entrance exams? You don't want me to answer that question.
Well, yeah, because like Joe's looking at the big picture. He's
Yeah.
like, saving the world isn't going to get me a job down the line.
I mean, okay. Well,
I mean,
the job needs to
yeah,
exist.
Surely that gives you celebrity status at least.
Well, his family's all doctors.
Yeah.
So
Family
he needs
pressure.
that.
It kind of sort of like embodies the whole Japanese work ethic in that way.
Joe really does in particular because like they find him like because they find all of the characters individually and they sort of like introduce them individually and you get to know them as characters that way.
It's so weird.
They find him on the beach with Gomamon, who's his Digimon partner, who's adorable.
I love Gomamon.
He's amazing.
And Joe is just on the beach in this little shack studying for his cram. Like he's studying and studying and studying and they're like, hey, we need to get across this river. Can we use your help? And he's like, no, I've got to study. Why are you even... Well, I need to study for my exams.
Wait, I'm confused. Is this Try or is this new
This is
new
the
Digimon?
new adventure. Yeah.
Oh,
Adventures
wow.
where they're
Studying
in
for
like
Highschool.
Yeah, I didn't see Try, so-
Kashiro is in year 4 at this point,
Yeah.
and the main most of the main kids are year 6 or 5.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, Joe's the oldest.
Joe's the
Yes.
oldest, yeah.
And so he uses that to try and take control and be the leader. He's like, oh yeah, I'll become the leader. And everyone's
Oh,
like,
interesting.
no, good try.
Excuse me, you're the glasses character.
Yeah.
You're second at best.
Exactly.
It's like, no, you're meant to be there to lift your glasses to your nose and go,
Swing.
indeed.
Well, also his character's very like emotionally insecure, and he's like, oh, I don't know know if we should do this.
It's I don't know if it's sort of like a segue, but it's the character designers as well. They have maintained cohesion. They look
It looks the same.
pretty much exactly the same to how they
dot
were.
for dot, I swear.
But
so good.
the animation quality is completely modernized.
I was going to say that's kind of something that really surprised me. Some of the fights, in particular, and the way they're shot and the way the cities are done, almost reminds me of a bright, happy Neon Genesis. It's a really weird sentence to say.
I was just thinking that, yes.
It's a really weird thing to say because those first 3 episodes, they serve as like the big introduction.
Yeah.
They introduce you to Taichi and Yamato in the network, and they've got to stop. Let's be honest, stakes are high here. The final a nuke is on its way to Tokyo.
Straight off the bat. Just straight off the bat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nuclear missile coming to Tokyo, and they're like,
Should we do something about that? It's episode 1. Aren't we supposed to get into this in episode 3?
Episode 1 is the entire city's power grid goes berserk. The trains start accelerating on the circle network and about to crash into each other. And Taichi's mum and his little sister are on one of these trains.
Aren't they like 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you say that. So
When somebody think of the children.
Kishiro is totally OP. He is the computer guy. And he's sitting there, he's like, I'm in grade 4. But I've hacked into the Pentagon. It was like, run that by me again, please.
I mean, they are Digi-destined. It doesn't just mean nothing.
By the way, if you're wondering, Kushiro is Izzy, if you're used to the English.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to cover that one.
Now, this is actually something that I really appreciate. They haven't skimped on the science stuff. There's an EMP and they explain it. They explain what
nice.
an electromagnetic pulse
still
is.
4 kids, maybe.
I think this one's
not as in
older.
4 kids, the studio,
Four
but
kids.
4 children. But
Nice
I
reference.
mean, come on, it's Digimon. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to go too deeply into it. But it's nice that they're not completely ignoring reality either.
Yeah.
Like, if your character is suddenly flying in the real world, we got some issues here because that doesn't really gel with the real world and it takes you out of the moment.
They've made the law and they've talked about it and made sure that people understand
Yeah.
the
well,
limitations.
one of the super important things is they've come to realize that time goes faster in the digital world
Yep.
than it does in the real world. So that gives them more time to deal with the real world stakes, which is a blessing in all honesty.
he should just go study. Joe should go study in the Digi world, and then he's got more time.
Yes.
That's actually really
Hacked.
smart. Yeah.
See, I'm Digi-destined. Someone give me one right now.
Yeah, so he gives up Digi-destined. He should have stayed Digi-destined and just studied in the...
Yep. But what I do have to say is, like, I completely forgot about the time difference thing because I rewatched the first 3 episodes and they're talking in real time to Kishiro outside it. So,
Really?
yeah.
Because, like, I thought the trains were fairly close to colliding when he went in.
Yeah.
And then, like, time slowed down substantially, which gave him the time to manage everything efficiently.
Yeah, but Kishiro was guiding him through it essentially as, like, what's Batman's...
Alfred?
Lady in the Ear.
Oracle.
Like Oracle,
yes.
where, giving
That
directions
one.
and information.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a bit like, he sent them the location of where the issue is, but you could hear him in real time. So sitting there going, I mean, let's be honest, as Digimon, we could
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
speculate
We
on the
could
whole
speculate,
physics
but they
of
probably
time
haven't
and relative
bothered.
dimensions in space.
But does it spark joy?
it sparks so much
So much
joy.
joy. The Digivolutions. Oh, I feel like a kid again watching it.
That's what you want. Like my show's like bittersweet, and yours is like bringing that just like old school nostalgia.
old school nostalgia.
And then Kenny's show is just the best.
Oh, it's... I don't know. I wasn't like so into Digimon because I don't think I saw enough of it when I was a kid. I was a bit more into Pokemon. It's sort of...
Yeah, same.
Would you call it its
I was a
competitor?
Pokemon person.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
especially in
Rival.
Western culture, those two were competing
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I mean, it was mostly competing on toy sales more than anything.
Yeah, well, Digimon's toys were a bit more expensive, which meant parents went for the...
I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
$2 pack of cards, $80 Digimon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was like a transforming Greymon.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
can still
man.
get those. It's Agumon into like Greymon and then War Greymon, and it's...
Dope and cool.
This
See-
thing really does just bring back every childhood
But
memory.
here's also the other thing as well. Like, for $80, you could get one of the actual Pokemon games. Alternatively, you could get the Digimon mini device and it would turn into a poop.
Yeah.
Every time.
But that's one of the special ones.
I know what
That's
I'll pick,
Sukamon.
so
I always got Sukamon. I never got past the second evolution. It was always Sukamon, and it was just looking sickly at me and sad. And I cared for it so much.
you guys are bad Digimoms.
Are you kidding? I'm the
Digimums.
best.
I love that. Digimums and Digidads.
Yeah.
I wanted them to fight my Tamagotchi.
Oh man, that's a crossover that needs to happen. Just like mash them together till
So
it
it's like
happens.
Beyblades now.
Yeah.
You're like,
Okay, but
Speaking of
Beyblades was
Tamagotchi
amazing as well.
devices.
Beyblades is amazing.
The
Okay.
anime, not so much.
Yeah.
So the TLDR, happy feels,
Happy feels.
So many happy feels.
but also with more.
Yes.
Yeah, with more pretty much everything.
That's awesome.
You
I'm
can
excited
watch
to
it
watch it.
on Crunchyroll if you're in Australia, and if memory serves me right, I believe it's on Crunchyroll in the US and Crunchyroll/Funimation in the UK and Europe.
Wicked.
So it's definitely worth checking out. If you watch the original Digimon or any of the series, it is going to just give you that massive flash of nostalgia you want.
And if you're pretty much new to the series, oh, you're in for a treat.
It's a good
Oh, yeah.
remake. Yeah.
It's
definitely.
really well done.
Do you need a bowl of cereal to watch it with?
I mean, it
need
wouldn't go
It
astray.
wouldn't go astray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would feel right.
Cocoa Pops?
Oh,
That'd be so perfect for it, wouldn't it?
yes.
I don't think
Fruit
I've had them
Loops.
since I was kids. No, Fruit Loops are just glorified sugar.
Aren't all
yeah.
kids cereals?
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, we should get on to the finale. And I'm not going to lie, this is a good one.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back Catalogue.
Well, we wouldn't be doing it right if we didn't immediately do this.
Kiss, kiss, fall in love.
I've been telling you to watch this one for
You
years,
have.
Kyle.
You have.
For
I can't believe
years.
it took this long.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm.
You said I'm bad with Ghibli. This is crucial.
I agree. I'm with Aaron.
Look,
Essential watch.
It's not that I didn't want to watch it, but you know what I'm like. I have so much anime to watch.
Yeah,
I've got
the
so
back
much manga to
catalogue
read.
is real for us
Scrap
all.
your back catalogue if you haven't seen this. Go watch it now.
Oh,
Yeah, drop everything right now.
High
You need
praise.
the serotonin that
And
this show brings.
I'm not gonna lie. So we are talking Ouran High School Host Club, and I binged almost 20 episodes in 2 days.
Woo!
It was really bad.
6 to go.
6 to go.
So, I'll give you guys the story. A young woman is forced to cross-dress after breaking private property.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit
Okay,
on the nose.
Elaborate.
I'll elaborate a little bit. So, there is an uber-rich and just overly ostentatious high school, Ouran. Haruhi Fujika is a new transfer student. She's in search of a quiet room to study in. She encounters the host club in what she thought was an abandoned third music room. They are a group of boys who entertain the super rich girls at this school for fun and profit.
Profit.
Yeah.
Now, while she is in there, she is dressed sort of androgynously, say.
Yeah.
They mistake her for a boy. And she accidentally knocks over a very, very, very expensive vase worth 8 million yen.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah, I
about
think it was
1 million.
that. But that was after she got bullied by them. They were kind of like
They were
walking
sort
around.
of, they were sort of like being,
Picking on her for looking shabby because they're such. It's such a rich school with such a huge, prestigious name.
yeah, this is where the millionaires throw their kids to keep them busy.
And she's an inverted commas commoner because she's there on a scholarship because she's super smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like she's bright, she's brilliant, but she's also dressed kind of boyish.
And can't afford the new school uniform because it's so expensive.
Yeah, the school uniform was like 3,000 yen, 30,000 yen, something like that.
Oh, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah,
Definitely,
30,000,
yeah.
I
But
believe.
so in a series of unfortunate events, she breaks this uber expensive vase and they determine that she must work it off from them. First working as sort of like their errand boy, and then when they discover that she looks rather pretty.
She scrubs up pretty good.
Yeah,
She
she
do
scrubs
straight
up pretty good as a boy for a
Yeah.
girl. They decide that she must work as a host in their club. She must be requested by the clients.
100 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then they keep upping the number.
Can
It's like,
you
you're
blame
never
them
leaving.
though? Like,
No.
she's a good worker.
She's a good worker.
And so she must work under the auspices of being a boy, pretending to be a boy for all of these girls. and hilarity ensues naturally.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
One of the high points for me was the Alice in Wonderland episode.
Oh, so cute.
That was
So this
beautiful.
is kind of at the midway point of the series, and it's all a dream sequence about her dealing with all the characters and their personalities being attached to characters from Alice in Wonderland, and
Because
it's beautifully done.
you do get sort of like an introspection into each one of these different hosts. Each one of them represents kind of like a different archetype.
A different type. Yeah.
A different archetype that you'd find in sort of like a shoujo reverse harem kind of a book.
Well, I mean, this is a shoujo reverse harem, and
pretty
this
much.
This series came out 2005.
2006.
Yeah.
I'd like
Studio
to actually...
Bones, actually.
And with shoujo at the time, particularly a lot of series had that gender bend kind of. I think I remember reading a lot of manga that had a lot of girls dressing as boys, and that's how they got, became friends with these boys and stuff like that as well. So it's not an uncommon premise.
I think this one was pretty much the first really
It's really breakout
comedy
series.
oriented.
Yeah, very much.
Oh
comedy.
yeah, definitely. And the manga it's based on by Bisco Hattori started in 2002 and ran until 2010. Do keep in mind that the series doesn't actually cover the whole manga. Like
No,
just
the
like
series.
many series back then, they were like, that manga's popular, let's adapt it. Oh wait, it's not finished yet.
You could just say Full Metal
They had to
Alchemist,
sort of
it's
like
fine.
rush. They had to rush an ending. It was a pretty secure ending.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It actually harkens back to the first episode in a few ways. It was it wrapped it up in a neat bow, but honestly, there is just so much more to it with the manga. The story develops. It's not like the one where we mentioned earlier, where it's just sort of like flat character development. No.
I love the diverse group.
Yes, let's talk about
I
characters.
say diverse, but they're unusual characters. So you've got the princely Tamaki Suo. He's the club president,
Yes.
but
In
that
inverted
is-
commas.
Well, I mean, then you've got the Shadow King.
The cool
which-
Koya.
Yeah, Koya Utori. And the mischievous Hitachin twins. And oh my god, like, Karu and Hikaru are just...
They are
Devilish twins.
they are a delight.
Well,
so
I
good.
mean, look, full disclosure, like, this does play with the idea of boy love. It also really loves to play with the idea of two twin brothers being in love with each other.
Okay. They
But
use it to get
the girls.
the girls to be like, oh my god. And so they're using
But
it
there is
against
a
them.
reason they're so close
They
to each
have
other as
they
well.
have a very, very close relationship. It's more that they just play that up for sort of like the for the business, for the whole fun and profit bit.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves because
We are.
we didn't really mention, I guess,
others.
but they all Honey Senpai and Mori, of course, the cute, and then the tall and dark and mysterious. But the whole idea with the host club is, they all hang out and people come and request the different types. So they come and say, today I want to be served by the princely type. That's Tamaki, and he's very over the top and
Super dramatic.
roses everywhere and stuff like that as well. And then Honey is like this tiny third-year boy who's so cute, and he
The
eats
lonely
cake
shoulder.
and he's adorable.
I've got to be honest, like, I'm not going to tell you what his unusual quirk is for his other side of life, because
badass.
watching... Don't ruin it.
For one.
He's all for one.
He's all for one.
I am here.
He's like, the reveal is too good
It is
to
good.
ruin.
Yeah.
But I love that all of these characters have another side to them other than the character they portray in the club.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama in this show besides the comedy. It actually is really deep, particularly with Haruhi. She's lost her mum. She talks a lot about her experiences and also why she doesn't really care about gender as a concept.
Her home life is just fascinating.
Yeah, it's super great.
Like it is revealed later in the series, but
And I was not expecting that, and when I put it in the chat, all three of you laughed at me.
It's so good.
it's more sort of like the whole thing about her just sort of like she takes up the mantle of being a boy host very, very easily. She has no trouble with it at all. And it's like, I don't know, this was like one of the first big animes which I really watched. I watched it with a very good friend of mine, Sarah. This was sort of like a very nice introduction to the whole like gender thing in anime.
I think as well, like this anime is it's fun. It's got good visual gags. It's got good audio gags. Like the way that it does the comedy is really good.
But it's also got heart.
But when it comes down to it, the reason why you keep watching it is for the characters because they're all actually quite complex. But Haruhi herself, and I adore her as a character, is the reason why everyone likes her is because she is just she's so open and she's so wholesome and she's just a kind, nice person.
It's despite the fact that she is sort of playing a role and disguising herself, she still maintains that very, very
So very genuine.
genuine and
Yeah.
down-to-earth personality.
which plays into her type, which is the natural
The
type.
natural- And all the girls are like, oh, Harry, he's just so sweet and nice and kind.
And you have no idea that it's a lady you're talking to.
But then the drama, because then all the boys in the host club are like, oh dang, maybe I like Harry he too.
I love in that first episode the use
lights?
of the lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
So each of them cottons on through over the course of the episode.
Oh dang, this dude is not a
Actually,
dude.
It's not a dude. And a light pops up for each of them, and it's great. And it's
Tamaki's an
There's
idiot.
so many little sight gags like that, and
Yeah, visual
subtitles
gags.
as well.
and not only that, they break the fourth wall on many occasions.
And it
They
works.
talk to the viewer, and it's
Yeah.
not weird.
No.
Yeah, the writing for this show is
it's
sensational.
so on point. Yeah.
Now we do have to talk about the dub. Because
no, we don't.
The
The
sub,
dub is so bad.
The
We don't have
original,
to talk
the
about
original
it.
voice acting is really well done.
Okay, like
Like,
when this
wow.
came out, Mamoru Miyano, who's one of Japan's most celebrated, most popular,
Mm-hmm.
won so many awards, male seiyuu, he's Light from Death Note. So he
Yeah.
just come out of doing Light, and then he goes directly into doing Tamaki, and he's just so incredibly good. And then the dub is just so not good. It's just
Look,
so bad.
I'm going to be honest. The dub is not as bad as some of the other dubs at the time.
Yeah.
My biggest axe to grind on this is that this was back when they decided it was smart to cover the opening and closing credits. And they're awful. Listen to the Japanese version for the opening and close, and then swap to English if you really do want to watch the dub. But the singers are off key. They're trying to shove multi-syllable words into single-syllable
I could
areas.
sing better. We could do it
We could do it better.
We
We
could
did
do
sing
that.
We
better
did do it
twice.
better.
That's
I
it.
know like plenty of YouTube artists
That have
who
nailed it.
who have
Yeah.
absolutely nailed this song, and I'll have to show you guys.
But this
them
person
later.
got paid for it.
Yeah. But, well, I wonder if it was one of the voice acting casts and they just went, hey, can you do it?
Just like real quick.
Yeah, read this off a paper to this music behind you.
But you can like
the only negative
coming
for sure.
coming from a musician's background, like you can pick up when someone isn't singing on key, and this feels like it was done rushed in a single take, and they were just like, that will do.
So
I actually wanted to bring a point to another thing. You mentioned that the voice actor had come from Death Note before appearing on this. So, well, first of all, that's a personality shift. I also wanted to bring attention to some of the other anime that came out around the same time as this.
year.
What this was competing with for screen time.
Just to rejig everyone's memory, this is 2006.
Yes.
2006, the spring season. We are looking at Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya,
Oh my.
First season, yeah.
Yep.
Air Gear,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Can we
was
do
so
an episode
excited.
about
We've got to do
Air
an Air
Gear?
Gear
Oh,
episode.
man.
Gintama,
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, so Gintama's airing.
Ergo Proxy,
Okay,
Oh.
yes, very big
Black
sci-fi.
Lagoon,
Oh wow.
and Fate Stay Night.
Original
Oh,
Fate
hello.
Stay Night. That is incredible.
That is 7 huge mammoth shows.
And yeah, that's not even the full list, but like this is just like what this was in the same time. So I was just like, whoa.
in the same. Oh my god, the same season. And didn't Code Geass and Death Note also came out 2006, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That,
And
that
they were
was
the
like at
season
the start of the
before.
year.
FMA's kind of
Around there.
just
Around there,
finishing.
yeah.
Right
Like,
after, yeah.
what? We will never get that high ever again.
Once we do get to the end of the year, which we do, we are making a habit of now for the end of the season. We will be doing another anime awards, and we go
Yay.
back 10 years and we look at that what was happening in a decade before, and pick some anime from that year to join the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely,
And
good
I think
times.
we're going to have to go through the back catalogue back to the early 2000s to grab some of these because wow.
Hell
And
yeah.
one other thing I'd like to bring attention to, it's like I think it's a testament to a certain anime if they get a live action as well.
Yeah.
Of course.
Not just one though.
multiple
No.
live
Yeah,
actions.
this got a series and then a movie which followed on directly from the end of that live action series.
Did it cover the actual end of the manga?
No.
No.
Kyle, do you have any idea
had-
how long the manga is?
The manga hadn't finished that point, so I was a person who was collecting it. It was actually one of the first series I ever collected.
Oh.
Manga. I'd save up my pennies and go down to Borders in the city and get my little
Oh, I miss Borders.
Ouran High School Host Club manga. So the manga hadn't finished yet. But I remember watching the live action series, actually pretty good from back in the time. And I
The guy playing Tamaki
dislike
is
them.
perfect.
They are, it's really well acted.
His expressions are so on
I've
point.
only seen the picture of this, and I saw him. I was sitting there going, has he bleached his hair? It's like,
Wigs exist.
maybe.
But yeah, no, the live action was good.
So the thing we've got to really get into here
Oh.
is what type would you go to
Oh my
visit?
God.
And what type do you believe you are from the pre-existing types? Because I see you over there with your Lovecraftian, Kenny.
I feel typecast. I feel
You
personally
can't be
attacked.
the tentacle monster. It doesn't work.
Yes, I can. I can dream.
What's yours, Aaron? Hit me up.
Oh, okay. So I think if I wanted to go, I'd really love to spend time with Maury. I love him. He's such a cool, like...
Cool,
He is very
strong,
cool.
He's sweet on the
stoic.
inside, and I really love that kind
Carry
of
me,
person.
Mori senpai.
But I definitely believe I'm the devilish type. I've got that chaotic
It's true.
energy.
It's true.
Yep, that's fair.
I see that.
No,
Kyle?
I couldn't go see Tamaki. I think he'd annoy me too much.
Too much?
Don't get me wrong, I love him as a character,
same.
but as
Same.
like visiting someone, I think it'd have to be the twins, to be honest.
Yeah?
I think they're just too nuts, so I'd
They're
have so
so
much fun
funny.
laughing at them.
I think I'm with you on that. I'd
Yeah.
see the twins as well. But like, which type are you?
Well, I'm definitely not the princely type because I don't think I can be that. Like, don't get me wrong, I like a bit of romance, but I think that's a bit too much for me.
Over the top flirtatious.
Yeah,
Well,
I
see it
could
as
do
more the
Kyoya.
leader, really.
I could do Kyoya. Like, I do wear glasses, I do push them up, and I do finances. So I do organize
The cool
things.
type.
No, I'm not cool.
Okay, well, fine. Kenny.
Yeah, like I said, I'd see the twins because, I'd just like meet them, get along and go, I have such plans.
And just do schemes and
Yes.
pranks.
For
yeah.
some reason, I feel like you could be Honey Senpai.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, okay, maybe not.
No, it
yes.
doesn't really work.
Bonnie-chan, get me cake.
No.
So essentially, Kenny's Karu and Aaron's Hikaru.
Yes! Time for chaos.
Prepare for trouble.
Make it double.
Oh, dear. All right, Loz.
I mean, I'm always a glasses person, and Kyoya is just so, he's so dreamy.
He is.
He's also like, I mean, I was never a huge Tamaki person because the same. I'd feel like I just like roll my eyes and be like, oh my God, please leave me alone.
Yeah.
Just you're too much for me. I love Mori as well. He's
Mori's
also gorgeous.
amazing.
Yes.
But I feel like if I was to be a host and I was to be like a particular type, I'd probably be devil type as well.
I
Let's
was
be
gonna
honest.
say, let's be honest. Are you sure you wouldn't be Haruhi?
With the natural
Yeah,
type.
You are a
Haruhi's
natural.
so beautiful, and I also have Haruhi hair. At
You
the moment.
do?
Maybe I should cosplay.
I
her.
was going to say.
Haruhi.
Yes.
Haruhi. Oh dear. Well,
Well,
I'll go now.
I think that's where we need to wrap it up because let's be honest, like we could talk about all three of these shows till the cows come
because
home.
they make us happy.
They do,
and
and
I
that's
love
the
them.
point.
I forgot to actually look up where to stream it. I was just watching it off an old DVD.
Well, I believe from memory this is across all the Funimation brands.
Yeah,
so
true.
it is Funimation in the US along with Netflix in the US actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and also another one which is called TubbyTube or something like that.
I want it to come to
don't
Netflix
know
for
what
us.
it is. No, it's not my belly. Don't stop tapping my guts. And it's also on Funimation in Europe and Wakanim in those markets, and we get it on Anime Lab in
Yeah.
Australia.
Okay,
Wicked.
well that's good.
So
Awesome.
very widely accessible, which is great considering
Please
how old it is.
go watch it. It will make you so happy. If you don't fall in love with this series after episode 1 with just its clever writing and its fun gags, then I don't know, you're lost to me.
It's so endearing. This is, do yourselves a favor. Check this one out.
It'll just bring you joy.
So they'll kiss, fall in love?
They will.
Maybe I'm the one.
Oh,
Oh no,
maybe.
maybe.
Such a rockin' OP.
It's
And
just
the
so
closing music as well.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, see, Japanese version only.
Yes. Yes.
Because the cover is so bad. Anyway, I do digress. We need to wrap up. We'll be right back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Yes, that's where we need to leave things for this episode. And thanks so much for joining us. Next episode, the ladies are taking over the studio. It's for a big round table on something very near and dear to them all, close to their hearts. Idols.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone, grab your glow sticks because it's time to dive into idol anime and why it's so big and why we love it so much. So it's Farah, myself, and Dee, and we're going to be talking idols.
I wish to
Yes.
join. I have a tutu. May I wear my tutu and join?
Ooh,
I will fight you for that spot. I have a very sexy Sonic dress.
Oh, you win.
Okay, well, you guys can both play along at home and you can listen to the episode. How about that instead? And make sure you like and subscribe us both. Aaron, Kenny, you like and subscribe?
Yeah, I'm like and
Excellent.
subscribe.
You on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, of course.
And don't forget to head over to our Instagram and Facebook pages for breaking anime news and videos.
Now, you've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time,
Watch some anime!